Welcome back to the channel. So we're back in the shop today. So if you saw the last video that was posted, I used Starke Products and went ahead and cut, polished, shined, ceramic coated the whole boat. So that was in preparation for the spring. Since pollen's fallen, we're not really taking the boat out right now. I went ahead and picked up another product that we're going to be working with today, and that's Spectrum Colors Patch Paste Gel Coat Repair Kit. So this is a 2002 Scout. So I got the Millennium White 2000 to 2020. It came with a tub of gel coat and then the like the hardener. And they want you to mix 1 ounce at a time. This whole container is 2 ounces. So you can pretty much get 2 sets out of, like two tries out of one of these containers. And that's from Spectrum down in St. Augustine. So I'm going to be doing the first today. I've never worked with this before, so we're all going to be learning together. But let me show you what we're working with here. Like I said, I've never worked with this. Kind of going off of what I've watched on either Spectrum or some other detailers and fiberglass repair. But whoever owned the boat before, from what we can tell, strapped it down wrong. There's a matching one of these on the other side. It's just down to the fiberglass, and it's got like marine Bondo all over it, and there's little nicks all over the place. So we're gonna hit some of these major areas first and see how it goes. I might order another set if I can get it to blend with the color now that it's ceramic coated. So I'll go over the whole step from what I understand. But there's a big gouge here where it hit the trailer on the old trailer. That's how we bought it. So of course, to get to that one, you got to pull the whole wheel well off. I'm not going that far today with this first batch. There's like there's a nick there, and there's that, and there's a big scratch there. I mean, it's 25 years old, so there's nicks all along the whole sides. There's some more Bondo there. There wasn't anything on this side. There's one little hole here that we'll put some putty in that's through the gel coat. There's like rash from docks and dock rash. And so here's the other side. So I had some other places fixed by a professional when we first got the boat. There was a really bad chip, and he sprayed over this but didn't fix it. So I'm gonna go ahead and patch that. There's a nick here in the lid right here, but we'll put a little piece in. Then there's the main thing. There's some screw holes along the transom that I want to get kind of fixed. And then there's some screw holes right here where there was a wire zip tied up with screws. And of course now, I mean, where it's mounted like it should be, it doesn't need to be zip tied down. But right here, camera might go upside down for a second. This is from getting the steering cable out. And so it's just like marine Bondo everywhere, and it's not sanded smooth. So we'll grind it smooth, put gel coat in it. And then this is where the fuel water separator was. So there's some big screw holes there. But that's really about it. It's just those few spots. So I'm gonna mix up the first batch and mainly tackle that area and the transom screws, and then leave all the stuff underneath up at the bow that's just kind of surface but still patched. There is, and I'm gonna save this for the next batch too. There's some screw holes in the console where the fire extinguisher was mounted. I don't know why you'd mount it there, but and then also same time I come back and do those where the bimini top was, I'm going to fill those. There's 3 on each side. I'm debating whether or not to pull the bimini clips off. Sometimes I use them for the fenders. If I want to pull the bimini clips off and patch those as well while I'm at it, along with, there's this really bulky trolling motor support arm that has a big plate up there. I'm trying to decide if I want to patch that. Oh, and then there's where the old VHF antenna came through. There's some holes up there, so all that'll get patched the second go around. We're gonna try and hit these big areas, but from my understanding, prep would be sanding or grinding off any Bondo, which I'm gonna do that to start with. To do that, I've got a little die grinder on the end of a Dremel, and then go back over it with either mineral spirits or 3M actually makes a solvent. It's actually on the box. Rough sand the area, 220 grit. We're gonna hit it with the die grinder, then sand it and get nice smooth gel coat. And then it says clean with rubbing alcohol or acetone. We're gonna hit it with mineral spirits, and then we're also going to hit it with some rubbing alcohol. Then you want to tape off the area, let everything evaporate, and then that's where you want to mix. Next is 1 ounce in a waxed cup, and add 8 to 10 drops of hardener. Mix it up with a putty knife or spreader. Then you put it on there for 1 to 4 hours until it's hard. Sand, wet sand it off, buff it, ready to rock. So I'm gonna put the camera down. I'm gonna hit those 2 areas with the die grinder, and then I've got some 220 grit, just regular hand sandpaper. Got an assortment of sandpaper, but I'll probably work back up to that one. And then I got my wet sand in here also, but yeah, gonna hit it with 220. Here we go. So 220 grit. I might go over some of the edges with 400 if it's really bad, but first we'll hit it with the die grinder. So I'm gonna put the camera down. Alright, so I went ahead and got all the areas prepped. I actually did pretty much everything that I said in the video. So these are those places. This one's actually a little deeper, but got all that Bondo out and then rubbed it down with mineral spirits and rubbing alcohol. And then there's actually a chip down here that I went ahead and opened up, basically back till I got solid gel coat. There's some behind the guide pole covers that I'm leaving. There was one little one right here that it might as well. I went ahead and masked out and cleaned out all the holes. So where the bimini top was, and then around on this side, I got that area down there, and then this I masked out and sanded this back out smooth. There's still a little of that marine Bondo, but and then why ever there's a square with an X carved in it. So that'll get patched up. Bimini top here. Same thing on this side, where we're kind of guessing that it's strapped down. I mean, they're dead in line with the rod holders both sides, so that makes it seem like there was a sling or a strap or something that went across the back and rubbed, because there is a rub on the keel in the same orientation. So I cleaned out all the holes on the transom. I didn't tape them off. Same thing with back here on the transom. I didn't tape those off. I'm just gonna putty right on there. That's too hard to tape all of those off, so we'll just putty those holes with the putty knife. And then same thing with the console. I didn't clean the ones that I gotta reuse for the fly rod holder, but everything else is clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the mixing cup, mix up 1 ounce of gel coat, and then start on a few of those spots. I'm gonna put the camera down so I can focus on everything, and then I'll pick it up once I put down this first layer, or really the only layer of gel coat. And then it sits and cures 1 to 4 hours, and then you wet sand it off. So seems pretty simple. We'll see how it goes. All right, so we just wrapped up the first 2 ounces. That was enough to do everything except for the transom screw holes and the console screw holes. So I'm gonna save those till I get everything off these major spots, because those are a little more important. I want to get these big areas. So let me show y'all. First off, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. Make sure you wear gloves and make sure you wear a nice mask, like not just a cotton mask or an N95 mask. Like, this stuff's pretty strong and it's very flammable, so dispose of it properly. Also, so this side, this was the worst area. So I kind of globbed it on in a few areas, and I'll sand all that off and sand it smooth because I kind of have to work that corner. So I wanted to get enough on there. This of course is going to take a little longer to dry, but I wanted to get enough on this side where I could rebuild that corner a little bit. Same thing with that spot. The bigger screw holes from the Bivity top, I kind of did the same thing. You're still going to see the little indentions, like it's not going to be completely gone. Some of them might be, but you know, that's fine with me. It's better than the big hole there. There's more areas around, so if I wanted to, I mean, I could be here all day long doing this. I just wanted to get the big area. Same thing here. It's kind of globbed on there because I got to rebuild that area, but it covered up most of that pretty well. The color is almost spot on. Especially with sunglasses on to cut down on the reflection. But I mean, it's an old boat. There's a ding right there that'll probably chip out at some point. I had to glob it on that spot also. I kind of globbed it on everywhere, to be honest. And then got it on that to rebuild that corner. But color wise, it's pretty much spot on now that the hull's been paint corrected. But I'll make another batch probably tomorrow afternoon and do the 4 holes on the inside of the transom. Then I have a couple holes in the console, and then these from the where there was a transducer down there. Alright, so we just wrapped up putting in 2 coats. So I used the entire 2 ounces and went through everything I talked about, all the screw holes, all the nicks, everything that I had on the boat. It's been 4 hours, and then I went over everything wet sanding with 220, then 400, and then it's ready for like heavy cut polish. I went ahead and did 1500 and then 2000 just to smooth everything out. But let me show y'all where it's at. I already polished one spot just to give an idea, and then I'm gonna talk about what I'm polishing. So this was the really bad spot. I mean, it's still kind of rough, but of course this hasn't been polished, so you can see all the scratches from all the sandpaper. But it's not completely smooth. I mean, this was a whole divot on this side from it being strapped down wrong. I mean, you could sit here and put multiple layers and smooth it out, but the color's close enough. I mean, I've got dock rash and everything all over the boat, so at least it's not exposed fiberglass. Where the push pole was screwed down, that completely disappeared, and all this is just sanded up to 2000. Where the Bimini hardware was, this is the other push pole spot right there. But what I'm super excited about, and you remember the clip from just a second ago, was where that big X was and all that like Bondo. So I smoothed it out as good as I could, but at least that big X is gone. It's still a little rough, and we're gonna polish it out here in just a second, but at least there's not a big gouge X on the side of the gunnel. So there's some little like just uneven spots that I tried to keep sanding, and that's where you can start to see the fiberglass wearing through at that spot. But I stopped. Once again, fishing boat, there's nicks all over it. This was one fill spot, you remember that I've already polished over, but I need to come back over. There's still some rough scratches. And then same thing with the Bimini hardware. These screws have already been polished over, but I'm going to hit them again when I do everything else. And then this was the other spot that I gotta do. But let's talk about the steps for repolishing this. So best product out there by far is Starke. So the steps for these little areas, so my entire hull is protected with HydroGuard. So I've got to go back through and seal with a SiO2 based polymer. So I'm going to start with Starke Level R. That's their extra heavy cut polish. They recommend doing that on like a yellow pad, or a blue pad, or a wool pad, something heavy cut. So I'm going to use actually a Grant's heavy cut microfiber. I'm going to use that for level R. Then I've got to prep for my ceramic coat. So we're going to use Triple P, which is a prep, primer, and polish. So that's going to prep the surface, it's going to prime the surface, and then it's going to polish it ready to go for HyperHold Pro. So I'm going to hit that in specific areas that we've worked with. And both of these are going to go on with a black foam pad, finishing pad. And I've got the Grant's 3-inch. I'm putting everything on with a 3-inch random orbital. But Starke is by far the best product. It's going to get crazy shine. It's going to correct all of these spots back out. And you want to use like a heavy weave microfiber to pull the wax off. But I've got another video on the channel about how good Starke is. But by far, certainly recommend going with Starke to fix these areas. Alright, so thanks for sticking around this long. So I just finished wrapping up, re-waxing everything with HyperHold Pro and going through all the steps. So I'm going to start back up here where that X was cut. So the shine is back in the gunnel. So, I mean, I'm happy with the results. I mean, the kit from Spectrum was like $55-$60 or something for the whole tub. So it did all these spots that were really bad. I mean, now it's about on par with the rest of the boat, but at least it's shiny instead of the gray Bondo in all these spots. So there's that spot. This one pretty much completely disappeared. The only reason you can see it, there used to be stripes on the boat that kind of raised the gel coat over time, and it's gone right there. So that's the only reason where you can see that. And I kind of got through the color a little bit. Down here, same thing, through the color just a little bit, but better than what it was. This side turned out much better. All the screw holes worked really well. So there were screw holes on the transom. Same thing with where the push pole was. There's just like, the sun's starting to set now, but there's just a little raised area. And same thing here, you can kind of see the little raised area where it was filled, which there's some from the factory. I mean, it's, and then this one is much better than it was. I mean, this is all dock rash that was there, but there's still a little bit of an indentation, but it's much better than it was, which is all that matters to me. Is it better than it was? I don't have all that exposed fiberglass anymore that just has like automotive Bondo that was starting to chip off. But thanks for checking it out. Check out Starke Products. I'll list everything down below that I used, but it was just the Spectrum color match kit. I mean, this is a 2002 boat that I paint corrected with Starke Products last week, and I mean, 2002 to now, I mean, that's 24 years old. I paint corrected it, and Spectrum was able to match it just out of the box with the 2002 Scout White color. So this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I mean, I'm happy with it. If it was a nicer boat, I mean, I would have probably sanded things a little longer, bought a bigger kit, but for something this old with all the nicks that it has, super happy with how it turned out. But thanks for checking out the video. See you in the next one.